Commissioner Kovacevic is absent and excused. Commissioner Morrison.
Present.
Commissioner Muir.
Present.
Commissioner Schultz.
Present.
Chairman Stratman.
Here. So let the record reflect, we do have a quorum for this evening's business. And so the next item of consideration would be the approval of minutes from our meeting of February 18th, 2026. Commissioners, are there any questions or alterations to what was presented to us?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the February 18th, 2026 PCC minutes as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Schultz.
Aye.
Commissioner Muir.
Abstain.
Commissioner Castillo.
Abstain.
Commissioner Gloaz.
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison.
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye. So the minutes are approved as submitted to us. Thank you, Colleen. The next item on our agenda, number 3, will be a public meeting, and there is one item for consideration this evening for the public meeting, and that is the application 2026-03 for a final plan for the Springs at Lake Zurich at 755 South Rand Road. It's an application for a final plan of a planned unit development, PUD, for a project that includes 9 multiple-family rental residential buildings, an outlot to accommodate a quick-service restaurant to be developed in the future, associated parking areas, and stormwater detention facilities. Staff, can you confirm that proper notice was provided for this item?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And can you reintroduce the applicant to us, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening. This evening, representing Continental 904 Fund LLC and Continental Properties Company, Inc., is Ms. Jen Patton. If you'd like to get to the podium, Ms. Patton has also brought along with her her entire team of consultants in case there are questions that need to be answered independently or individually, I should say, by any of her consultants. But go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for having us here tonight. As Sarosh mentioned, we are back in front of you all and very excited to be in front of you all to request a final plan approval for the Springs at Lake Zurich.
Your presentation will come on. Okay, there you go.
I'm going to start tonight with just a very brief presentation and then open it up for any questions that you do have. I do have our whole development team here for any more technical questions if you have any or anything in their areas of expertise. So just brief overview, subject parcel is the vacant Regal Cinemas lot at 755 South Rand. It is 20.2 acres and bisected by June Terrace. The final plan in front of you this evening is in substantial conformance with the approved development concept plan, consisting of 213 homes ranging from studios to 3-bedroom. We have 2 3-story buildings along the north end of the site along Rand Road, feathering down to 7 2-story buildings along the southern end of the property. The 3-story buildings are 33 units each, and the 2-story buildings are 21 units each. We have, since approvals, improved the detached garage layout along the south property line. We eliminated the parking and the land bank stalls that were formerly between those detached garages and replaced what used to be 4 structures with 8 4-bay detached garages, further buffering the community from the southern property owners. In addition, since our approvals last year, we have received conditional approval from IDOT for the right-in, right-out. We had some minor comments from IDOT and have resubmitted our plans now for final review. A couple of the final plan conditions that were included in your packet, highlighted in yellow, I'd like to address those. We did speak with staff and come to an agreement on how we would handle those conditions, and I'd like to just review those briefly with you this evening. The exhibit to the right here shows the sidewalk network, addressing a couple of those comments. The 5-foot sidewalk frontage along Rand Road has been connected to the existing sidewalk on the existing outlot by means of a marked crosswalk, and you can see that along the blue line there. Additionally, that 5-foot sidewalk has been revised to connect to the internal sidewalk system within the development. Also, site fencing, the chain link site Site fencing has been removed from all the plans. All of the site fencing will be aluminum ornamental fencing, and the plans will comply with ordinance. One topic that came up pretty routinely during the prelim approvals was snow storage. This is a revised snow storage exhibit. One thing I will point out, our internal parking ratios in Continental across our national portfolio, in order to meet the needs of residents, guests, and snow removal, is about a 1.8. We are parked here currently at a 2.19. So we know we have adequate space for snow storage in the event of any heavy snow. This is a revised final plan rendering. As you can see, that south property line, we have that buffering of the detached garage layout. And then this is another view looking northwest. So with that, I would like to thank you again for your time and consideration this evening and open it up for any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Scott, you want to take it from your end first?
Not really.
No? Okay. Mr. Muir? Hildy?
No, I don't have anything, outside of the changes to the garages and the two items that were noted. It's no different than what we reviewed and approved and with the recommendations and all those things.
That's
So,
correct.
Okay, good. Thanks.
I'm fine.
Sean?
Same comments. We beat this one up. It conforms to what was approved previously, so no further comment.
Antonio?
Well, not having been here. Of course, Florida was better, but. No, I don't really have any comments after seeing everything that's in the packet and you addressing the issue of the aluminum fence. Is that going to be painted black? Is it going to be aluminum color? What color is it going to be?
It's black.
Black. And then just thank you so much.
Nice.
And so one other thing I have, which I maybe didn't catch, there's no entrance into this facility off of Ela, is there?
No, there isn't. This is sufficiently distant from Ela and has a couple of private properties in between to have any entrance, so.
No, again, I thank all of my fellow commissioners for having gone through it when I wasn't here, and having seen that they didn't have a lot of issue, and nor did staff, I have nothing else to add on to it.
Thanks, Antonio. So, Jim, the one comment I had was, in fact, I remarked previously, I was amazed at how quickly you made the changes to accommodate the residents' concerns that had been brought. We made the meeting a week later, and you came back with a completely different presentation that was remarkable with all the changes you made. I was surprised to receive our packet and see that we had the question about the fence. It would seem like that'd been the easiest thing to have made, have one of your talented people just change that note on a drawing. I was surprised to not see that done until it's before us this evening, but I'll let that go. But in terms of your snow storage, should we have an event like what just hit Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, you would have the ability to remove the snow instead of find site storage, correct?
That is correct.
Truck it off-site,
Correct.
okay. That would be my only other comment.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Silverman here, who's here this evening representing the vacant outlot that is part of this PUD. Being the fact that I noticed that some of the snow storage is on property that you controlled, could you acknowledge that you're fine with that?
Yes, I fully support.
If you could come to the thing, yeah, podium, sorry, and just state your name and address.
Richard Silverman with MJK Real Estate, the future outlot developer and partner with Continental. We've been in communication with Continental about the snow plan, and we fully support the plan they have in place right now.
All right.
We will work together on it.
And that'll continue once the property is even developed.
Yes, that will be
Okay.
factored into our site
Okay,
plans.
you just want to make sure that this is not an interim measure or a temporary measure.
No, sir.
Thank you.
I do have one question, Sir Ross. The street that leads from, let's call it Starbucks, all the way to this
Yes.
property, So that is that a private street? And if so, who owns it? Is it from the Strip, or is it from this project, Continental?
No, it is owned by Regal currently and soon to be Continental. It is a private street,
The entire
the
street?
entire street all the way to the intersection of Rand and this street. We are calling the private drive. Some people refer to it as June Terrace South, but I don't know, have you given a name for it yet or not?
I don't believe we have, but
Okay, that's fine. But one of
Making
the,
consideration for Jen Patton Way, or?
I don't,
in the
I
running
don't
at
want
all?
that kind of recognition.
one of the things we acknowledged and the developer has agreed to is the fact that being that this is the only access way currently into the Regal Theater property, the developers will be adding the second means of access and egress along the northern boundary line, kind of midway along the frontage of the property, immediately adjacent to the outlot, the commercial outlet, and that will be a right out access only. And in addition to that, being the fact that there will be a lot of construction traffic going in and out of the private street, that it will be repaved at the end of the project back to drivable and village standards.
And they will be in charge of removing all snow for the entire street?
Yes, being
All
the
the
fact
way.
that they control it.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No other comments from the commission? Hearing none? Okay. And that this is just a meeting and not a hearing, we still need to have our motion. So I would entertain a motion on application PZC 2026-03. I'll entertain a motion to receive in the public record the staff review of compliance of this application for a final plan with the standards as presented by staff this evening, and to make these standards a part of the official record for the application, and recommend approval of the final plan for the Springs at Lake Zurich.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Call the roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Muir,
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye. So this will go to the village board on what date?
We'll be working with the developer over the next couple of weeks or so to kind of like finalize most of what's needed to be added to the final plan, have them address the comments that we have, and then decide on a date. So most likely in either April or early May. But as of now, you have your recommendation for approval to the village board.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening.
And thank you all the consultants
the
for
village.
attending this evening.
Okay, we move on to our next item on the agenda, item number 4, which will be a public hearing. So I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing for the following application. Application PZC 2026-04 for a variation at 450 North Old Rand Road.
So moved.
Thanks, Hildy.
Second.
Thanks. Call the roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Gloaz,
Aye.
Commissioner Muir,
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye. So, those wishing to speak or comment at the public hearing this evening will now be sworn in. Includes the applicant and their team members planning to present their application. So, if you're going to testify, please raise your right hand while you read the statement to swear you in. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Good, thank you. When you come up to the podium, please sign in on the sheet at the podium, and at the beginning of your statement, please state your name, spelling it out if necessary, and your address for the record. All comments will be addressed to the PCC chair. Any members of the public wishing to comment will be invited one by one to the podium to provide their comment. The chairperson may limit repetitious or inappropriate comments in accordance with the rules of the PCC. If a number of persons wish to testify with the same comment, it's recommended that they appoint a spokesperson to present those comments once to the PCC. Members of the audience shall not be disruptive, use profanity, or display any signage. The applicant will first be given the opportunity to present their application. After the applicant's presentation, the PCC members will be able to ask questions one by one of the applicants, and the discussion can occur. After the PZC questions have been addressed, public testimony will be received, and PZC commissioners' comments or additional questions can ensue. Public testimony will be accepted in person or in writing, handed to the chair of the PZC. After all persons are given the opportunity to speak or submit their testimony, the hearing will be continued if necessary or closed, and the PZC will then move into deliberation. The applicant may be given the opportunity to respond to questions posed by either the members of the PZC or village staff during deliberation. However, no more formal testimony will be taken after the hearing is closed unless the chair decides otherwise. Once all deliberation has ended, the PZC will vote on recommendation to the village board on the matter. So that's all the legalese that we need to do for the evening. So now we can get to the application. So the application is on PZC 2026-04 for 450 North Old Rand Road. It's an application for a variation to allow for the construction of a detached garage that exceeds the maximum floor area within the rear yard setback in the R5 single-family residential district. Staff, can you confirm that proper notice was provided for this item?
Yes, it was.
Thanks, Colleen. And can you introduce the applicant for us?
Yes. This is Mr. Scott Floy. He is the owner of 450 North Old Rand, who will give a brief overview, and the presentation should be loaded on the computer.
All right. Great. Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Floyd, like Colleen said. My wife Sarah and I have lived here for 10 years. My wife grew up here. We've got 3 young kids in May Whitney School right now, so getting to be long-term residents. So I'm here tonight to request, we have a project going right now to build our primary residence at 450 North Old Rand Road. What we'd like to do and what we're asking the variation for is to build a detached garage on the rear portion of that property. It's kind of a unique property where that back lot backs up to the Lake Zurich Golf Course on 2 sides. So what we'd like to do is build a larger garage and recreation structure that's in line with the other properties along North Old Rand Road. So you can see here what's already been approved and what's in process is the south of the green area there. So what we're proposing is in the northwest corner, that red outline would be the proposed garage structure. The green would be the expanded driveway. We do have letters of no objection from the adjacent neighbors.
Scott, the arrow keys may
Oh.
allow you to go back and forth.
I don't do many presentations anymore.
There you go, that's your first.
Oh, there we go. So this is a view facing north, currently as is, or before we started construction on the home. So that rear lot is just a wooded lot right now.
You have a pointer right here you can use as well.
Oh, all right. I don't know how to use a pointer.
It's just a remote, just click on the button, that's all.
All right, we're good. So this is facing west, the view from the rear neighbor on the east side. This is generated proposed structure and the view from that same north-facing view with screening implemented for privacy and so that the neighbors there on the west aren't staring at the structure. This is facing west, what it would look like at the back northeast corner of the lot. I put this in here, this is what would currently be allowed without the variation. And then I also put 2 alternatives if we did not get the variations granted of where we could put a structure like this attached to the current home. We could still put that size structure attached to it. We don't feel that would be in line with the neighborhood and other structures along that road. It'd be a really long building. The other one would be in that far northwest corner. It would really look the same to the neighboring properties. They're very similar, so.
Well, Scott, the staff report that we've received as the previous petitioner noted, the comments received were some in yellow comment where the staff had concerns with what they had seen when they reviewed the packet. Previous petitioner stated they were going to be in compliance with all the items that have been listed. The items that are listed by staff in your review, they've given us the yellow comments, which means they have concerns about it. But despite the concerns that they've raised and they've highlighted, staff still recommends the recommendation, given what it has done. Do you want to explain the fact that even though there could be modifications made, but they don't meet the intent of what the petitioner is looking to do?
Right, the petitioner is looking for a single structure to be used as a garage and a recreation space. The unique factor on this particular property is its depth at approximately 633 feet from the road, which is a very substantial depth. Typically, you have about 135 to 150 feet for a house. So at 633 feet, this garage will be tucked back. What's more unique is the fact that at the top or the northerly end where the garage is proposed is an L-shaped portion, and that is exactly where the garage is going. So if you were to stand in front of the property and just look back, you would have to look to the left and kind of around the trees that he's proposing to be able to even see the garage. The other factor, mitigating factor that staff looked at is the fact that this property, particularly the area where the L shape is surrounded on two sides by Lake Zurich Golf Course. Large open spaces, heavily wooded and uninhabited at this point. The golf course itself is further back from there. To the south of the L shape is a single-family home, which also provided one of the letters of no objection. We measured an approximate distance that the footprint of this garage would have from the nearest point on that house, and we came up approximately 125 feet. So that is also a substantial distance, together with the fact that the current owner is proposing to plant a row of screening trees, evergreen trees that will provide year-round screening. So based on those features, staff did not feel that the location, the design or bulk of the garage would negatively impact any of the properties surrounding this structure, and therefore, despite our yellow comments, which we wanted to bring to your attention as cautions, we find that this garage will still continue to be a structure that will not negatively impact any of the surrounding property or this subject property itself.
Okay.
It is a substantially larger garage than most garages in town. It is approximately 3.5 times the maximum that we allow at 2496 square feet, whereas typically the maximum we would allow would be a 720 square foot garage, which is approximately a 4 to 5 car garage.
Well, Scott needs that much space to store the stuff that we're going to put over there. So that's why he's building it that big. He didn't tell you that when he submitted? Oh.
And we didn't want to know.
All right. Commissioners, we'll start on your end this time, Antonio.
Thank you so much. The garage you referenced, Roche, and what is typical for us, that is typically on what size lot?
That's typically on a 10,000 square foot lot.
So a much smaller lot than
Much
here.
smaller, yes.
So if we were to say, extrapolating for the size of the lot that our petitioner has,
Mhm.
it would basically coincide with saying, yeah, this is a reasonable size structure to go onto that lot, given the area of the lot itself.
Yes, the area of the lot is 54,845 square feet.
Right, so that'd be one. Two, I didn't see it here. What is the height of this?
Scott, do you want to comment on that?
I believe the maximum allowed is 25 feet, so that would be the maximum height.
Is it 25?
Typically, we take the average height of the structure as the middle portion of the gable-ended portion of the structure, but we would require that the garage be no taller than the highest point on the house. It needs to be secondary to the house.
Correct, because I think I remember seeing in your office one of the outlines that says how tall it could be, and for some reason 25 wasn't there. Not that I have an objection to it, again. You're all the way out 600-plus feet away from the road, so it's not, I just want to make sure that it conforms, and if it's not, if that becomes part of the variance, I want to make sure I know what I'm saying yay to. Again, I find having the structure where you want to put it and for the purposes you want to use it for, very amenable.
Yep.
There is no ands, ifs, or buts, especially since it abuts a golf course, and your neighbors are saying, hey, I have no problems with this at all. So, go
Commissioner
ahead,
Castillo,
Colleen.
Colleen reminds me that the maximum height for a structure in the R5 district is 30 feet, and this is well below that.
30 feet, perfect. I just want to make sure. And so,
Yeah,
good clarification, so.
I believe our main structure, that calculated height is less than 30
30
feet,
feet
so
too,
it
yes.
won't be higher than the main structure.
And this will be a concrete floor? So, again, I have no other questions, thank you
All right,
so much.
good. Thank you, Antonio. John?
No, not much here. I appreciate the comments. I mean, again, unique site configuration. I mean, the placement seems ideal for, the intended use here. Appreciate you getting the letters of no objection. Seems like screening is going above and beyond here. And, I did want to make a comment. Seems like one of the recommendations by staff is that the applicant will agree not to install any other structure within the interior side yard, which I think is a good condition to include. So, no further questions of mine.
Okay, thanks, John. Yildi?
Sorry about that. Well, first, I mean, how many cars? How many bays? How many doors? How big is this gonna be?
So it'll be 52 by 48 feet are the dimensions, so a majority of that'll be a rec room. And then
Okay.
a portion of that'll be storage for vehicles and boats.
So this is all inside?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say recreation space, it's not outside the garage or the structure?
It's
This is
basically like the
all-
size of a half-court basketball.
Ah, okay. Then I guess I have no questions, no other
All right,
questions.
thanks, Yildi. Mike?
I don't, I mean, they already asked questions, so I'm good.
Okay. Scott?
Same, I agree. I mean, you've got the letter of no objection from seemingly the person that's gonna be most impacted by this, and the fact that you're so far back from Old Rand Road, as well as it's pretty heavily wooded directly to the north of that.
Yes, north and west.
So even people that are gonna be on the golf course enjoying,
Probably won't see this garage.
got no other comments or questions.
All right, good, thank you.
And
Wha-
again, this area has traditionally been heavily wooded. It's not that this could be denuded or cut down and homes be constructed because it's a private golf course. Golf course is a mainstay in Lake Zurich, and we hope and expect that it will continue to remain a mainstay in Lake Zurich.
So Scott, the one comment I wanted to make sure that you understand is in the recommendation that staff has put together, there's a couple points that I think need to be called your attention to. Under the recommendation, paragraph 2, sub B, is that they have stipulated in the recommendation, which then becomes part of what, if we vote to recommend it, it would have to comply with. And that is, there is no increase to the dimensions that you've talked about of the 52 by 48 of the structure beyond what's being proposed. And then also under the subparagraph E, the proposed garage structure itself shall not be used as a residential use or other uses that are not traditional and customary to the use, design, and operation of a single-family residential property. So those two stipulations need to understand that moving forward, that has to be part of what the recommendation will be based on.
Yep, understood.
Understood?
Yep.
Okay. That's the only other comment I would have. None other from the commissioners? We ready to deliberate? All right. Then I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing and move into deliberation on application PZC 2026-04.
So moved.
Thanks, Ildy.
Second?
Call the roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Glowacz,
Aye.
Commissioner Muir,
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye. Any other deliberation we want to talk about on this item? No.
I
Okay.
think so.
Then I would entertain a motion on application PZC 2026-04 to receive into the public record the staff review of compliance of this application with the zoning standards as presented by staff, and receive the testimony presented by the applicant, by the PZC members and staff, and to make these standards and testimony a part of the official record for the application and findings of the PZC, and to recommend that the village board approve the application for a garage variation at 450 North Old Rand Road.
So moved.
Second.
Call roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Castillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Schultz,
Aye.
Commissioner Glowacz,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Muir,
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye. So Scott, you have the unanimous recommendation from the PZC going forward to the village board, and that's where you'll next be making your case.
And we
that
will
date
get in
be-
touch on the date of the meeting. Either Colleen or myself will get in touch with you.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Thanks a lot,
Good
Scott.
luck. Okay, item 5 is other business. Is there other business?
We received an application from John Joswiak at 20 and 30 Misha Court for a subdivision. It's currently 2 R5 zoning lot. No, it's 2 R4 zoning lots, and he'd like to subdivide it into 3 R5 zoning lots.
This is part of the Nestle Rest property that used to be Nestle Rest.
Mhm.
So it's not the entire subdivision, it's only the 2 southern and easterlymost lots that he wants to subdivide into 3 lots. Take 2 and make them 3, requiring a rezoning and a re-subdivision. 2 of the lots will continue to be accessed by the private drive that's on the property, and the 3rd lot will then be accessible directly from Whitney Road.
Oh, okay, so they'll be coming up for us in
April.
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 Okay.
And then we also received an application for 211 Sunrise, which is zoned R5 to be changed to R6 for a PUD for a 2-story, 2-unit residential building.
This is a building that they are designing to look like a single-family home, but with 2 units in it. And so as a result of that, we need to rezone it.
Okay, all right.
Where is that at?
211 Sunrise, remember Joe's Barber Shop property that Andy's done?
Oh, right there, off
2
of
properties
Rand.
to the north of that, yes. There is an existing, I think, a 1-story building on the property right now. I think they want to redo it into a 2-story building.
Okay,
It's being used as a single-family rental property right now.
all right.
But has that gone to courtesy review?
No, it is not going to courtesy review.
But it will.
We have not recommended it right now because of the manner in which the bulk and the height of the building is being proposed. Do you feel strongly that it needs to go? I'm just curious.
So the last time that something came before us, I think it
Yep.
was when the deli was gonna go in and they
Right.
were gonna build the apartments above, there was a lot of pushback from
Yes.
the residents right there, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So for
Amen.
me,
Mhm.
it would make sense to say, let's do courtesy review here to see what that feeling is, given that it's not going to be the same. It's not a deli below and
Right.
apartments above.
Or a
But I
commercial
think
property.
that we should go that route first and then
Understood.
see what the feel is before it comes to us. Because otherwise, I believe we're gonna end up with that same pushback because they didn't want it from a residential side of things.
Right. They
I
didn't
I'll
wanna-
advise the
I wanna hear.
applicant on that.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And then, is there any public comment this evening? No.
These are students fulfilling a class requirement.
Okay.
Okay. Has there been any activity on the old Freddy's building?
On the old which one?
Freddy's?
Freddy's, no. We've had a couple of inquiries from potential users, but nothing formal at this time.
And then Scott, did you want to talk about the one on Old Rand?
There's a building, on Old Rand that did a 2nd story, and it's just kinda sat dormant, and it's got like two separate siding colors, and it looks like.
South of Route 22, right across from the turn onto Mohawk?
Yeah.
Kind of, yes,
Yeah, it's
yes.
like right across from the
Right, right.
library.
That's a single-family home that was a 1-story building that wanted to put up a 2nd story. We'll look into the status of that project Dave could look into it at some point, yeah. Yes, if it is,
Bare
isn't
wood
finished.
bothered your wife, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was like, there's like an exposed,
So-
rafter,
He was hearing comments about it, so he
Sure.
felt that he needed
yeah,
it.
Absolutely.
she wanted to know, so.
We will definitely look into it, yeah. No, I mean, definitely, because if it is an unfinished building just sitting dormant, we can follow up with the owners to find out what the status is, because they do need to maintain the property with proper cladding material and all of that too, so.
As long as we're talking, the gentleman who wants to do having the change so that he can build 3 homes versus 2 homes,
Mhm.
Mr. Wozniak,
No, Joswiak, John Joswiak.
is he not the same person who also owns the property that is right there at Old Rand and Bushing? And he was gonna put 2 homes there?
Different,
Totally different.
totally different, yeah. John Joswiak is a local builder and a resident of the Lake Zurich area. He has done a number of subdivisions in the community on the northwest side, the John Court subdivision, Whispering Creek subdivision, and the Sunset subdivision on Mark Lane. If you recall, a couple of months ago, was it last year, a pool variation had come in at 202 Mark Lane. That was a subdivision that Mr. Joswiak had designed and built that home.
So the property that I'm talking about then, that we had approved that they build 2 homes on,
Yeah.
what's the status of that?
The owner has come in from time to time, but I think he is waiting for the reserves, the larger subdivision just to the north, to be completed so that he knows exactly where water and sanitary is, so that he can connect to it.
I
But you-
saw the
but-
road cut was already put across.
The road cut is already put, the sanitary is in place, sanitary on the site is going in right now. We are waiting for final submittal of their full engineering set to give them a final land development permit, and then they should continue with water and stormwater, and then foundations will go in after that.
Isn't he running into time constraints? I mean, isn't there a time limit on when he has to start doing something before he has to come back and reapply?
Who, the 2-unit person?
The
or-
2 unit.
Two-unit person, yeah.
If there was a PUD, then yes, the PUD would expire in 2 years, and we will certainly look into that and advise him. But the lot is divided into 2, is subdivided
Already.
into 2, and he can simply build 2 homes as long as he meets all the requirements of the bulk requirements for an
okay.
R5 zone. He may not necessarily be able to avail of any modifications that he may have received as part of the PUD, because that will expire.
And I did want to thank you again for including in our packet the Community Development Department report for February. Thank you, Colleen.
It
How's
solves a lot of questions that come my way.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
How's Andy's Deli coming?
So Andy's,
whatever it's
Andy's
called.
Deli is
Hiring.
looking, yeah,
They're hiring a chef.
yes. They're in the process of hiring. Step 1, to run a restaurant, you need a chef.
Okay.
They're very close. They feel that they're in the last stretch, as they say, is now just staffing the restaurant.
Are we
Hopefully a
into-
few weeks and people show interest.
So this is all right now are we into other business right now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, shoot, no, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. So, I have heard that there was a time where we had talked about, not we as a commission, but the village had talked about hiring somebody who was going to go around to the specific neighborhoods to look at things such as garbage cans on the driveways, people parking on grass, things of that nature. And that kind of died. And then it was, well, we're going to look for somebody else. We're going to look for a senior, somebody we can pay some money to, blah, 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 and it kind of died. But I got a few calls that all of a sudden somebody went up to some houses and started putting tickets to fines based on cars being left on grass, which I think is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying we should have been doing this for a long time. My point for me is, one, I'd like confirmation that that is what we are definitely doing going forward and not having the police do it. And is that something that we have told our residents is going to be happening? Because again, I was in Florida when I got several calls because they had violated what they were doing, got it. So I gave them suggestions, but I said, I have to be honest, I wasn't aware that we had progress to that, which I think, like I said, is a good thing, but I would like to do two things. One, have affirmation of that now, and two, what is it or how is it that we are going to address it so the residents already know that this is coming their way, and it's not a surprise where somebody knocks on the door, says, hi, here you go, and boom, and then I'm getting more calls.
So we do have a seasonal code enforcement inspector. We've had this position staffed since the time I joined, which is 10 years, but from time to time, that person would leave, there'd be a short gap. As of now, we do have Mr. John Kowalczyk. He is a retired fireman who is now the seasonal code enforcement officer. He does, he is part-time, he's not full-time, so he does 40 hours a week. And he goes around every morning, making sure, first of all, that anything he sees is reported. So we start off typically with a letter. So what the people that may have contacted you may have seen was a first-time notice of code violation, not the actual citation. And that is kind of what we call the warning. And if a person complies right away, then we don't kind of ticket them following that. But if they don't comply within the time limit that the notice of code violation says, then we ticket them, and depending on the type of violation, ask them to come to adjudication, which is held right here in this very room, once a month on the fourth Friday of every month, where a judge then determines, based on the nature of the violation, what the fine limit should be. If it is a much larger issue, such as the one on Main Street that we follow up on from time to time, we do request them to come to the branch court in Mundelein for a judgment. And those are usually for injunctions where a judge would then require remediation. Adjudication only provides for fines against a property owner. You can't have, the adjudication judge would not pass an injunction or require a remedy on the property. So then we take it to branch court. But Mr. Kowalczyk has been going around, and Dave, if you want to maybe comment on this or add on anything to it.
Sure. Since I took over as the building official for the village, we've started to make a very concentrated effort to bring residents into compliance for various issues that we have found out there. We're doing some studies on what are the biggest complaints that we're seeing and going out and enforcing those. So residents will start to see more tickets coming or violation notices coming, and we're even encouraging our code enforcement to take people to adjudication so that we can show that the village has code enforcement out there and that we have certain rules and procedures that are in place that we will want people to comply with.
Thank you. Like I said, I think several things need to happen. The first one is that we need to remind our residents that this is what is happening, be it email, snail mail, whichever one it's going to be.
How about benchmarks?
Benchmarks.
We do put them out on benchmarks.
And basically be really bold in how it is so that people see it. I've started to see, even in my neighborhood, where cars that were on grass, trailers are now being moved off. And that's a great thing, because once our comprehensive plan got into play, there were a lot of people that came and say, okay, so now what are we going to also do to make sure that the values of our home stay here? We love the plan, but, so this is one of those things where all of a sudden, if all of a sudden you're removing cars that are on grass in the front of a house, not on the side even, and other things, you know, I mean, even the garbage cans, you know, move them away. All those things lead to having higher values, to where, you know, we see when people come here, oh, don't build Lifetime because it's going to destroy the value of my home. It doesn't. And most of those things. So if we can take the things that will impact, and if nothing else, just the optics. It may not take away the value, but the optics will. So this is one thing that when I heard that, I said, oh, this is great. I didn't know about it, which, okay, got it. But again, having people know about it, us continuing to do it, and hopefully not have gaps where John decides, okay, I'm done, you know, I think it's a great thing. It really is good.
John will typically follow up with me on every case that comes through, and ultimately I will make the decision on which way we pursue it. You'll also see that as a way to make it more evident that we are out in the field. We've changed the code enforcement cars a little bit. You will see that we have amber lights on these cars, and you will see us pulled up to the side of the road and have the amber lights on, so you'll know we're out there. So we're again making a very concentrated effort so people will know that we are there.
Does he also look at commercial?
Yes, we just got finished doing all of the handicapped parking in all of the commercial areas over the winter, and we sent out quite a few violation notices for that to bring everybody into compliance as a help to these businesses to be compliant with the state of Illinois code for what they should have for handicap parking. So you'll see these things from time to time coming around the village as we start to pursue them.
Because there are still businesses that aren't following the sign requirements. They still have temporary signs, and it's going on many, many years now.
It escalates in summer,
to-
so that'll be something that we will be following up once the warm weather comes in and you can actually push a temporary sign into the ground.
Tough to do now.
Right, but if I may add, recently we advised the village board on, or asking them for feedback on garbage can locations and time out on the street. And one of the things that resulted from internal discussion was a reminder to property owners about the timings of their garbage cans out on the street on garbage day. And once they put them back, where on the property, preferably the garage and away from view, but typically on the side or the rear of the building, based on recently passed legislation from the past couple of years. We're now going to have a garbage can hanger that we put up to start with a gentle warning, as we call it, to let property owners know that, just so you, in case you weren't aware, these are the requirements for when you can have your garbage can out on garbage day before and after, and this is where it should go once you put it back. So
We've
we
also
think
done
that
that
will be
with the tall grass and weeds violation.
Yeah.
We are starting with the door hanger, so you'll see a yellow door hanger at properties, which will show that the village has been out there and seen this.
So again, this is not a ticket or a fine, this is the first warning. Now, failing any compliance on that, then yes, we'll take them over to, onto the next step, which would be fines through the adjudication process. Mhm.
So, Antonio, you didn't get a letter while you're in Florida?
That's how you found out?
No, okay, okay, all right.
Which is fine.
What about Airbnbs?
So Airbnbs, we also advise the village board. However, being the fact that we are non-home rule, we are very limited in what we could do specifically with that particular type of land use. We can't really have them registered because registration is not permitted of this particular land use by state statute. So what we will continue to do is be reactionary in our code enforcement. When we hear about something, we will ensure that that particular property is maintained in a manner very similar to other residences on the street. So issues such as parking on the street, parking on the grass, trash in the front yard, trash cans in the front yard will obviously be issues that we will be notifying property owners to comply with.
Okay. Well,
The
but you mentioned
nuisance,
the qualifier
violation.
being non-home rule community. So we're limited on what we can do, but I know after Barrington Hills had a problem a few years back, they put in restrictions against the Airbnbs, and they aren't the population that we have, so they have less.
Sometimes, and we can definitely look into whether they are home rule or non-home rule, but there are some communities that are of population less than Lake Zurich that have opted through legislation to become home rule communities.
Right, thank you. Commissioners, any other questions under public comment?
Do one more.
Yeah.
On the strip mall that is at Cuba and Rand, the Walgreens. In there are 2 EV stations now. Are those owned by the strip mall? Because they seem to have gone in coincidentally when the dentist facility went into the bank. Who is it that owns them and who's responsible for them?
Those were actually put in by Walgreens. You'll see that both Walgreens locations in the village.
Oh, so it's
They
theirs.
both have EV charging stations.
Got it. Okay, great. Thank you. People ask me, I have, just have to have an answer. Sure. Thank you.
No other comments, questions? Then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Call the roll, please, Colleen.
Commissioner Castillo. Commissioner Schultz.
Aye.
Commissioner Gloas,
Aye.
Commissioner Morrison,
Aye.
Commissioner Muir,
Aye.
Chairman Stratman.
Aye.
Thank you.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
And just so, in case I notice, a lot of you still look towards the now blank wall